Well, good afternoon. I'm here with Julia Armstrong, and I'm going to talk about the amazing time, the amazing conference, uh, the Sumlock Conference, State of Maryland Literacy Association Conference that we we presented in an evening event. Now, behind me is a live interview that I did with Dr. Rasinski, who created the Fluency Development Lesson Plan. And Julia's going to knock your socks off with some of the information she has about her use of that in just a minute. But let's just imagine for a minute that we're here at the conference because oh doggone it, technical difficulties. I hate technical difficulties. So it didn't get recorded, but now we're recreating it. So imagine, use your imaginations a bit. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a share with you and take you quickly through how that evening began. With me doing the interview with Dr. Rasinski. Here we go. Share. There it is. Okay, and it did not begin at the. It began
Oh,
with
there's Heather and Gab.
yeah. It began with Heather and Gab introducing us, and they are with Benchmark, and kudos to them and kudos to Benchmark. You're going to find out that in addition to sponsoring this evening event, Benchmark made a major donation of materials for this evening event. I also want to give a shout out to Literacy Lights the Way, Kelly, Carrie, and Sandy. They were the three busiest people on earth during the course of this conference. And I'll tell you, I'm coming back next year. Okay. So Literacy Lights the Way, and it's an annual conference. So there we have it. And now we're going to I need you to take us back to the conference itself. Okay. And there I was sitting at a table looking at these very people for real. I want you to notice something. Look at the goodie bags they have, all chock full of all kinds of things. Look at they each got copies of three decodable books from the Reader's Theater, uh, okay, to take home. Okay. And then one lucky person at this table, I'm not going to say who, uh, got a copy of the FDL book itself. Now, when I do the other blog around this, you'll find out all about that. But let's just say it's called the Fluency Development Lesson. And a person I know kind of got great results with it. And I'll have her talking in just a minute. But I can't get off of this page without mentioning one last time. Benchmark sponsored this evening event. Benchmark gave all those materials, including all the books and an FDL book for each table. So it was really quite the event. And for the benchmark people, uh, I'll kind of stop my end of things by saying, wow, thank you, Heather, and thank you, Gab,
Gab, yeah.
for those. And thank you, most of all, Benchmark, for sponsoring and giving those things out. Now, a, a little birdie told me that maybe somebody I know got some spectacular, I mean, knock your socks off kind of results using this. And that's what her talk was about. So let's just pretend we're back there, we're at the conference, and somebody introduces Julia and she starts talking, and I stop. Julia, it's all yours.
Okay. So it was a lovely event. I enjoyed speaking with everyone. I started off my portion after your interview, sharing the results that I was able to receive with a group of five fifth graders. So that's how I started my journey with FDL. And then I actually moved into working with some second graders using FDL as well. I will note that my fifth graders, and I did mention they were great decoders, they just needed some help with fluency and comprehension. So when I began my journey, I'll just give a teaser of one example, but this information that I shared and the data that I shared is also on Dr. Rasinski's webpage under his blog tab. If you scroll through and look for my name, you'll find the data, my results. But just to give you an example, one student started off at the beginning of the lessons with using the Dibbles assessment, which is a screening tool for those who aren't aware of what Dibbles is. This student read a passage with 92% accuracy and 88 words per minute. And after 5 weeks of using the fluency development lesson model with the poetry, the student read with a 99% accuracy and 113 words per minute. I had another student that went from 94% accuracy and 89 words per minute to 5 weeks later reading with 99% accuracy and 124 words per minute. So that's a huge jump in the both the accuracy and the words per minute rate or the fluency. And I should also note there's another portion in that assessment that's called MEES. Dibbles refers to that as their comprehension component. And really what it is, it's a passage that has words omitted throughout the passage, and the students have to select the proper word that fits within the context of the sentence. I had, just to give you an example, at the beginning of the year, one student scored a 6 on that assessment, and mid-year, which was halfway through, I guess maybe 3/4 of the way through our FDL lessons, that student jumped to about, the score was 20.5. So from a 6 to a 20.5 in that assessment. So that's just a few examples of the positive data that I
Oh,
had.
okay, I'm going to be a little difficult here. Are you just giving me all the good ones, or were they mostly all good ones?
Out of my 5 students, 4 of my 5 students were actually marked by the Dibble screener as reading on grade level. One student just missed the mark because of not the maze portion, but the words per minute was just a little under the mark that he needed to reach. But important to note, he was able to score on grade level for all the other state assessments that we have. So it was just that one area. And he was a little bit of a nervous reader. So just a couple of stumbles, rereading to self correct. But really, they all did a beautiful job. I was really impressed with their reading. So I decided to work with my second graders using the same model. And that's where I really had fun with the group. I demonstrated how, when I introduced fluency to that group, I introduced fluency as a way of when you listen to music and people singing a song, the words kind of flow together, or sometimes I'll say they touch. And so we put one of the poems to a song, and everyone in the audience, even though it was a little later at night, they all sang beautifully on pitch. It was lovely. So I was pleased with the audience participation there. And then we did a couple of activities connected to the book that were I lifted one of the poems and two of the many activities connected with that poem. And then I rolled into sharing. I asked everybody to get out their book bag, which I have the books here. The first book that we talked about was The Little Red Hen, Reader's Theater. And I commented on how Wiley Blevins, it may be hard to see, but Wiley Blevins is the author of this text, and he's one of my favorites.
I'm betting if you put that right in front of your face, it'll show up. I might. Yep, there it is. Okay, good.
So the text, what I really love about, and I thought was very thoughtful about this text, all the texts that we were given samples of, is that they follow a 5-day plan, which is what you will be getting into more detail with Dr. Rasinski, but that's what he recommends is rereading each day of the week. So they have a little section, which again may be kind of hard to see, about building vocabulary and background knowledge, especially for students that may not have a lot of experience with a farm or what flower is. So there's a component for that. There's also a nice little section where students can practice reading the sentences using different voices, different emotions. I thought that was very cute. And then they have a little section for the, this is the decodable part, and then a section for vocabulary. So I had an activity. They have activities, lesson plans here that give you 5 days worth of activities that connect with the text, which I know teachers love that. And then there was also another one of their beginning decodables that we had an activity. I gave a suggestion of using the cut up word sentence and organizing the words for these would be our very emergent beginning readers with this text. And then moving along, I'm going to take more time with this text because this one really blew me away. I have never actually been able to read a reader's theater that had this much information. It's a nonfiction text, if you can see it. Maybe a little blurry,
Oh,
but it's
there it just came out. Good.
okay,
Okay.
good. It's called The Artist of a Changing Earth. And it gives a little background about um, the different forces that cause erosion. And each character, there are different characters. So one character is the wind, one character is the river, one character is the rain, and one is a glacier. And they review different places, some in our country, a few in other countries, where erosion has created these beautiful formations. Again, they have the vocabulary, they have the phonics and high frequency word page, and then they also have a building vocabulary. And again, reading sentences with different emotions. But what I thought was really wonderful was the illustrations are very engaging. The dialogue, just natural dialogue. You know, there are many readers' theaters or decodable text where the sentence structure is just a little awkward or contrived. This is just very natural, flowing language. The characters are, they even have a little song within the text, which, of course, me being the music lover, I loved that. And then I actually created an activity for this text where students can brainstorm with their teacher ideas to describe some of these features. I used the adjective of breathtaking. And then they complete a graphic organizer that this one might be hard to fit in the screen, but it's just a little graphic organizer. And then after they complete the graphic organizer of whatever feature they select, then they can actually create either a commercial and video themselves talking about why it would be such a great place to visit, or they could write a little summary and discuss why it would be a great place to visit. But basically, creating an advertisement or a brochure promoting whatever feature they select from the text. So we had a lot of fun.
Oh, okay. And do you mean to tell me that kids can learn and also have a lot of fun?
And also have a lot of fun,
Right.
believe it or not.
Okay.
And they're decoding and applying high frequency words, but most importantly, they're also working on reading text with a natural sentence structure that promotes fluency.
Okay, so not just any old decodable will do, and these decodables from Benchmark are just so well put together that they really do work out. And I'll give myself a little promo here for my end of things, where Dr. Rasinski and I are going to recreate our talk about the FDL, Fluency Development Lesson, and say that these benchmark books fit that so perfectly. It's all the same uh, technique and the rest. So you could either use the FDL book where you get all that uh, uh, a full year's worth of lessons, uh, and uh, use the different activities from that as well. And I'll put in a plug for David Harrison, who, of course, Tim created word ladders for every lesson, but David Harrison created books that are very much like the book you described that really do a great job with expository text, science, and social studies.
He
Uh,
did. He
yeah,
did.
so just and a year's worth. Now, tell me if you can.
So
Oh, go ahead.
Dr. Kulik also did a great job with the activities. Um, and I believe I know for me, we were my kids were just really engaged. So the text is broken up between intermediate and primary. So between the two, I think it's like half a year for each grade. I think they're working on another series maybe, or there may be another one possibly coming out in the future. But I know my kids, I think we kind of blew through the intermediate session in about a half a year. But important to note that these lessons, there are lessons for every day of the week that Dr. Kulik put together, and they really fit and hit all the different areas of the reading rope. So it's a nice variety. It's not just one type of activity each week. The kids do not get bored. They're engaged. They love the word ladders and all the activities, really. They're
About how
writing prompts, everything.
about how long does it take to run one of these daily lessons?
That's what I love. I only had about, really, by the time the students came into the room, about 25 minutes. And we were able to get this in 25 minutes. And we were able to see that much growth, just under a half an hour a day.
Wow. That's the only way to describe it. Wow. Now, I'm going to do a little promotion for myself here, saying that
Sure.
there'll be another blog coming up where everybody's kind of going, but fluency development lesson plan, the book, what are they talking about? You'll have to tune in on the uh, blog that I do around the lesson with Dr. Rasinski, who is the guru of fluency and top 2%, right?
Top 2%. You are right.
Yeah, top 2% of researchers worldwide. Okay, so he is uh, a major, major, major figure. So I think uh, that pretty well covers that event, and I am so pleased that we were able to recreate this. And you know, any you can have some final thoughts, or we can just do a Zoom wave goodbye. It's anything else.
Well, I will say one thing that I do have to give credit to Benchmark. I have been teaching for 30 years now. I've, as you can imagine, gone through I've seen a lot of different programs and publishers. And I have to say this series that they've rolled out with, I also like their Dynamite Decodable series as well. We use those in our school, but this the Readers Theater series is just phenomenal. I can see where this is really going to help children with their fluency. And I think Dr. Rasinski is right. It probably is one of the more overlooked areas of reading, but I think with these decodables, I think that's going to change that.
Okay, well, when I re recreate that missing interview, readers will find out more about it. I hope that piques their interest to also look up that particular blog. So it's that time where and you've already got the nice big smile. So what's left is the famous Zoom wave goodbye, and thank you so much.